Wakey, wakey. Dross. So, we are gathered here today to talk about Talon Voice. Talon Voice. First off, I would like to thank um, everybody who organized this event. Also, the kind location that we've been sharing. This is going to be my talk is going to be at O'Brien's Bar. So, thanks O'Brien's Bar. Thank you, Jacob, for scheduling, and thanks ClickHouse for sponsoring and giving everybody free beer. Very important. Woo! Right. Um, I know that you're all really excited, so I'm going to ask you to hold your applause until the end of the presentation. Just level set here. Um, so today I'm going to talk about hands-free computing with Talon Voice. What does that mean? Um, Traditionally, the only easy input we have to our computers is our keyboards and our mice. We're working more voice controls in as time goes along, but I wouldn't say that they're at a point where using them is easy. Slide next. So, who am I? Why am I doing this in the first place? Slide next. Slide next. I'm Trillium. Um, this QR code brings you to my LinkedIn. This is basically my information. I'll have all this stuff available at the end as well. You don't necessarily need to take a photo of it right now. I know that you're roaring to get your phones out just to check. Um, I am a software developer, mainly a front-end developer at the moment. I work with Hack4LA, creating open source applications, and I also contribute to a couple other open source repos as well. I've contributed a couple of changes to Talon Voice, the community repository, as well as Cursorless, which I'll be demonstrating later on in the presentation. Slide next. So, why do this in the first place? I don't know about you, but I have trouble sitting at a desk for a long time. It hurts my body. Um, my back isn't the best back in the world, and I would much prefer to be able to be up and moving around rather than sitting at my desk the whole time. Um, there isn't really a great way to do that at the moment unless we can start to integrate voice tools. There's many other reasons beyond that. Like what would you do if you were a knowledge worker that uses a computer on a daily basis and suddenly tomorrow you have no more access to your computer? That's the reality of breaking your wrist, um, getting an injury of some sort, or maybe you've been disabled your whole life and you haven't had traditional access to computers, mostly because of the way that we integrate our interfaces nowadays. Talon Voice is a tool that hopes to bridge that gap, and I can personally say it's doing a really good job. Slide next. So, what other voice accessible tools exist at the moment? The main ones for me that come to mind are well, we have ChatGPT now, which is pretty amazing. The ChatGPT application where you can speak to it and then um, get voice or audio responses back in real time. And then there's of course your uh, assistants, Alexa, Siri, Hey Google, those types of assistants. The thing about those applications is that you speak into them, but you can't guarantee what you're going to get back. Talon Voice has a separate paradigm where the only thing that it will do for you is explicitly defined, and you are able to, as the user, go and look through what exactly that definition is. Slide next. What is Talon Voice? Talon Voice is a application programmed in Rust. Um, at its core, it is a matcher. It will take in audio input and match that to some predefined set of key phrases. So, for example, when I say slide next, that's something that I've programmed. Slide previous. Talon Voice is locally on my computer, always listening in the background for the phrases that match with whatever situation that we're in. At the moment, you can see that Talon Voice is actually um, command mode offline. If it was online, Talon Wake, Wakey Wakey, it would be blue, Dross. And I said Dross, Dross, Dross. That went really well. Uh, so, in theory, that the phrase Dross is supposed to prevent this type of thing from happening. Talon Wake, Wakey Wakey, Tab Close, Mouse Grid, Air, Fine, Made, Harp, Touch, Grid Made, Touch, Go Back, Address Bar, Talon Wake, Address Bar, Talon Wake, Command Look, Lap. Don't exactly know, Dross, what has happened here. Dross, Talon Sleep. Slide next. Gotcha. So we went to the end of our slides and they're empty, and I was very confused. So we were still in presentation mode. That's fine. Everything's going well. Let's see here. Uh, Talon Wake, Touch Slideshow, Dross. Slide next. Slide next. Slide next. Okay. So what is Talon Voice? Talon Voice is a Rust-based application that will match audio utterances to a predefined command set. When I say slide next, that is actually matching a command that I've created in my personal repository. What hardware does Talon run on? Talon runs on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux, though at the moment, Linux is going through a accessibility tools shakeup, and the newer version of Linux is not currently compatible. It's in the works. I don't know when it's going to get done, but at the moment, I'm running Talon Voice on my Mac. I've also ran it on Windows. Slide next. Does it require an internet connection? No. One of the best parts about this application, besides a moth being on the screen, is that you can run Talon locally. The only communication that would happen to an external source is communication that you define. So, for example, if you, I don't have them set up at the moment, but if you set up a command to do some sort of outreach to a large language model like ChatGPT, it would go out, grab that feedback, and pipe it back into your system. But Talon itself is not collecting any information on you. It runs completely locally, and it doesn't need an internet connection. Slide next. How does it work? We spoke a little bit about that, but we want to get into more of the specifics, like what is actually happening. So I mentioned earlier that Talon Voice is listening for phrases, different utterances that let the application know what to do. There's been a lot of standing on the shoulders of giants, of other people using this application for many years who have developed a coherent system, and that's the system that I'm using today. Slide next. Um, so in regard to the alphabet, if I wanted to use a voice like, or excuse me, a tool like Talon Voice to speak out the alphabet, why don't I just say A, B, C, D, E? Part of the problem with the letters that we have now, the names of those letters sound very similar. So for a software, machine-trained software, to discern exactly what sound you're making, it can be difficult. So if I said B, C, D, or E, it might only hear a portion of that sound and it might get it wrong. There are other alphabets out there that are quite popular. Slide next. Slide next. Like for example, the NATO phonetic alphabet. Everybody's seen this before: Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. That works great, especially in an environment where maybe the bandwidth is lower. You want to be able to hear extremely clearly what's going on, but it's slow. Some of these words are 3 syllables long. Can't do. Slide next. The alphabet that I use is here: air, bat, cap, drum, each. Very exciting. But the thing about it, this alphabet, is that over what? Ood. That's right. I specifically use ood. Ood is my favorite one. Yeah. Um, no, it's not. Oh boy. Yeah. Thanks, Mel's. My dear friend Melanie is a copywriter, and she is great at finding anything wrong in any text that I write. Anyways, words. So, um, except ood. Everything else in this alphabet tends to be very cleanly heard by the machine learned um, training model. I don't know the exact word for that. By the machine learning model on audio, so it will be able, Talon Voice will be able to discern these words very easily in comparison. Slide next. Where does Talon Voice excel? What types of things is it good at? Slide next. Slide next. Writing text in a straight line. Very good at that. In a straight line. Yeah, like just pumping out as much text as you want. Great at that. Um, Organizing window positions, formatting variable names, entering special characters. Special characters is an important one, especially for people that work in a text space, because oftentimes you have to work with parentheses and brackets and commas and semicolons, all of these things that are really hard to get right when it comes to other voice tools. Um, I don't spell super well, as you can see by my ood example earlier. Um, and sometimes I love to use Talon Voice just to put out a better, like to type out a long word without having to worry about how it's spelled, like perseverance, for example. I could say word perseverance and it would get it right. Slide next. Where do I struggle using Talon? Um, when things go wrong, you've seen a short little snippet of that. Slide next. Slide next. Complex mouse actions are pretty hard. Other individuals use Talon's um, eye tracker system. So you can install an eye tracker on the top of your computer. Tobii eye tracker 4 or 5, I believe. They traditionally have been used for competitive gaming, but they work really well to discern where you're focusing on the screen, and then other integrations can work on top of that to select text easier. Let me see here. Command discovery is also a problem. Like, I have use of my hands. I don't have to use Talon every time I open up my laptop, and so sometimes I'll go a couple of days between using it, and what that ends up looking like is maybe I've learned a new command and then it's fallen off of my brain. So using tools to help me remember, like Anki, is a really good option. Anki is a flashcard application. Yeah. No, probably not. Command discovery to me is like, well, um, I'm using an application and I want to be able to use it easier, and I know that someone in the past has gone through and mapped all of the hotkeys to voice commands, but I don't know what those voice commands are. So that's kind of one of the problems I encounter when I'm working with an application. Noisy spaces, depending on the microphone that you have, that I have, if a space is too noisy, then I can't use my voice integration tool. Like, for example, this is I forget what the name of the mic is, but it's the one that pulls sound from all around. You can get noise rejecting microphones. They're like the Britney Spears one right in front of your mouth. Those work really well. Um, and then if I ever make a new command, maybe I'll forget it, that kind of thing. Slide next. Would you like a demo? Wow, what? A demo? Let's see here. Yeah, that's a great option. Talon Wake. Scrape. Go left fourth. Command history. Go north fourth. Go south. Second. Second. Select ood. Undo that.
Is that because it doesn't know what ood is?
Dross. Yeah, it doesn't know what ood is. Talon Wake. North. Mouse grid. Near.
Whoa.
Quench. Touch touch.
Whoa.
Sky odd drum drum. Scrape.
Whoa.
Dross. So there you go. There's me fixing a small little mistake in my code that I wrote, or not code. Where's the other one?
Touch,
Oh.
touch. What was that? It was like, where did Talon excel?
Slide next. Oh. Talon Wake. Talon Wake. Go south. South. Scrape. Scrape second. South. South. Dross.
Writing text in a straight line.
You want to see some writing text in a straight line?
No, I'm saying it says is right now.
Oh. Talon Wake. Wakey wakey. Select is. Word in. Scrape second. Dross.
Wow.
Talon Wake. Focus Chrome. Dictation mode. So one of the cool things about Talon Voice is that it's not just a command tool. It'll also just generally listen to the things that I'm saying if I talk for a long time.
Whoa.
Nice.
Also, if there's noise in the background, for example,
A really noisy audience. There it is.
Nice.
So when Mel said whoa, it put well.
yeah, so it's not perfect.
Okay.
You know? Period.
I know.
New
I'm
line.
not trying to like show it
New line.
flaws, but I'm just how sensitive it is to other voices here.
Yeah.
Why does sometimes it hear you and sometimes it doesn't? Sometimes I can say Talon Wake twice.
I don't actually know. I think the reason why is because Talon Wake itself is a phrase that has a start and an end, and so if it's in the middle of hearing a command and a new command is generated, a phrase like Talon Wake needs to have to be a complete single utterance. So as you can see, as I'm talking, it's pausing. It's not necessarily spitting out text the whole time. If I talk blah 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 into the microphone for as long as possible, it's not going to do anything until I stop.
I can see authors liking it.
Yeah. So there are authors that use this now. Like this is an extremely functional way of just getting your thoughts down onto a page. And so this is dictation mode. In dictation mode in my setup, it's yellow. We could switch back to command mode, Dross. And this is when I can screw things up because command mode does a bunch of other stuff. So that's like writing text in a straight line. But there's, the other thing about, or that I mentioned earlier about needing to be able to enter symbols. Talon Wake. Enter.
My favorite one.
Bang. Ampersand. Dollar. Bracket. Rebracket. Square. Resquare.
Wow.
Down score. Dash fifth. 20th.
Wow.
25 times. Word wow lap. 200 times or 99 times. Word wow lap. 99 times. Bummer. Dross. Dross. It's not supposed to write out that word. That's my sleep word. Okay, so there's a little bit of writing things out. I showed a little bit of Oh, Talon wake. Talon wake. Page up. Third. Fourth. Sleep. Talon sleep. Um, there's some other really amazing integrations. I used one of them earlier to click on the slide thing again when I said select slideshow. I don't remember all the commands, but there's one of the really neat things about Talon Voice is that it's extensible. So if you have, for example, made an amazing setup all on your own for clicking on things and selecting text on screen, like this wonderful gentleman who made Gaze OCR did, you could just port it into Talon Voice and use it. So I think maybe this is the only instance of the word splitting. Talon wake, wakey wakey, hover splitting, hover splitting, select splitting, dross. I don't think hover is the right command. So I'm not super well versed with that particular portion of this suite, but it's very functional. Let me see. Another thing that we haven't really dove into yet is like, how do you actually navigate the web? And I have an extension in the top right corner. There's that R. It's called Rango, and it's rendering these letters across the top of the bar there, and that's basically searching through with an accessibility tool. To find all of the buttons that have actions on them of any kind. Talon Wake, Tab New, Word GitHub, Lap, Dross. So this is my GitHub page. As you can see, there's a bunch of links all over the place. There's these 2-character codes. Right here, if I were to go to this massage one, it will be Batgust. This person we're seeing here, Andreas Arvindison, should know how to say his last name better. He's one of the core contributors to Cursorless, which is an application that I'm just about to show you. Yeah, Talon Wake, Wakey Wakey, Downer, Downer, Dross. So there's like how you can do scrolling down the screen. You can also use mouse wheel, Talon Wake, wheel down fifth, page down fifth, Dross. That fifth system, that is using ordinals. So like everybody already has like a perception of second, third, fourth, fifth, what they do in their brains. And so when you use one of those ordinal systems, you can repeat your previous action, except for, of course, if you're trying to write a word and then another thing. I don't know why it didn't work. I expected it to work.
Sorry, ordinal system?
Yeah.
Ranking?
Sorry, to repeat an action.
Ah.
So if I said wheel up third, it will do the wheel up key and then do it 2 more times for a total of 3. Does that make sense?
Wheel up third, it would do it 3 times?
Yeah, so using your mouse wheel to scroll up the screen.
So like,
Yeah, one little tiny little guy. Right. And you can also use 5 times. That'll work too. And that's all in the Talon Voice community command set. I did want to show off a little bit of coding maybe. Let's see here. Talon Wake, Wakey Wakey, Focus Code, Dross. So this is is it gonna, great. I'm like, is it gonna turn off? This is a Talon file, a .talon file. This is what I've been using to go do the slides back and forth. In the mode, so right now we're in sleep mode, right? Because the icon's gray. If it was blue, we would be in command mode. If it was yellow, we would be in dictation mode. So
you need to be in dictation mode for this.
no,
Okay.
no. So this is saying all the modes, these actions are applicable. So if I said right this very second, are you ready? If I said penguin, it would insert penguin. It'll probably do it again because every time it hears the word penguin, it's going to do it. Maybe not. I don't tend to run commands outside of dictation mode, and so maybe did it save? No, that wouldn't make sense. I don't tend to run commands outside of dictation mode, but don't know. This is not necessarily what I wanted to show you. Talon wake, wakey wakey, window next, command jury, dross. This is a uh, little helper tool I was making for myself. But as you can see on the screen, Talon wake, zoom in fourth, zoom out fourth, zoom in, dross. Chuck that. Clear left, dross. There's all these dots all over the screen. I know that nobody here is super into VS Code, but this is not normal, just to be clear. Um,
Oh, the red dots?
all the dots, all across the screen. There's green ones, there's blue ones, there's dots everywhere.
Yeah, I see 'em.
Yeah. So I mentioned Cursorless earlier, and that Andreas is one of the maintainers of Cursorless. This is Cursorless. What exactly are these dots doing? Cursorless. The premise of this tool is that you can interact with any dot across the screen because they're all unique. So I talked earlier about the alphabet. So whenever there is a letter, or excuse me, a dot above a letter, you use the Talon Voice alphabet word for that letter to interact with it. So for example, if I wanted to select is open, Talon wake, wakey wakey, take is open. That's not going to work. Dross. Shit. Chuck head, take sun. Dross. There we go.
What did you say?
I said chuck head, which was delete everything up to the head of the line.
And what was the other one?
Take sun. Take sun. So there's S, wakey wakey, help alphabet, Talon sleep. As you can see here, S is for sun. So if I wanted to have the one above it, there's a dot above the C here, so that would be referred to by cap. And so it's not just being able to select something. It's also a very extensible system, much like Vim, where you have a bunch of smaller actions. You can do a ton of things with Cursorless. Like for example, I could let's see here, something that actually matters. I could swap the order of arguments within this function. Talon wake, swap line sun and cap, swap line sun and cap. Great. Undo that. Take line cap. Swap line cap with sun. Dross. I think it was the with statement. Swap line with this with this. You can also do things like bring the text of any particular token to where your current cursor is selected. You can select multiple cursors like Talon wake. From block, take every instance blue drip. Dross. So from everything here that is contained in a block, which means lines with no white space between them, take every instance, and in this context, blue drip, this is the semicolon, this is the comma. So we're taking every instance of a comma within this block. Drip. In this case, drip is a comma.
Comma?
Yes, that was the word I used for comma. Yes.
Why didn't you use comma?
Because comma is 2 syllables and drip is 1. Because if you're doing this for hours on end, all that ends up mattering. Yeah, there are people who speak into their microphones for like 8 hours a day. Yeah, and so yeah, the
Well, because drip otherwise it feels random.
why? Yeah, so all of the
You can explain.
what's with the popping? What's with the popping? So there's a setting you can use to interact with the pop sound. It can be used for multiple things, but in my configuration, I have it set up to repeat the last command. So that's what's happening. So if, for example, if I wanted to just go down one line, Talon wake, scrape, south, dross.
And is that because for the same reason that it's tiring to speak so much and to
Yeah, just having some other way of interacting with the tool, and plus a pop sound is actually faster.
yeah.
Yeah, because when Talon listens for phrases, it has a waiting period. It has like it's configurable, I believe, but I believe in my configuration it's somewhere like what? Yeah, like point like 400 milliseconds, something like that. And so it'll wait for a period of emptiness and then it'll execute a command. But when it comes to pop sounds, you can it'll register those like instantly. And so that type of thing is faster. And if you have the beta version of Talon Voice, which the there's an alpha version and a beta version. Yeah, alpha version's free. The beta version you have to be a Patreon subscriber. But there is a integration with another amazing tool called Parrot, which lets you train your own sounds. And so at one point earlier when I was working with this and I had a bit more patience, I trained a second sound like I think it was this sound, that sound, and that did something different. And it can be really helpful to have a pop sound do one thing and then a second sound do the opposite of that thing. So if I'm hitting down the down arrow key a bunch, then I can make a different sound and hit the up arrow key a bunch. Exactly. I think that's all. I have got so much more of this fun application that I could show off because I'm just thoroughly enthralled with it. But I think that would maybe be a good spot to stop. Talon, let me see here. Talon Wake, Focus Beta, Touch Slideshow, Dross, Slide Next, Slide Next, Slide Next, Slide Next. Yes, it is. Slide Next. Ringo is the one we saw earlier, hooking into your web browser that lets you interact with links and stuff. Gaze OCR is the one that lets you hover over text, touch like select text. What other ones? There is a LLM integration that I haven't installed, but I hear is super helpful. There's also a additional accessibility tools. Slide next. It's very good. Slide next. And that's the presentation.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, I am. I'm gonna bring the other slide. Talon Wake, Scrape, Go North 10th, Go South 2nd, Mouse Grid, Crunch 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 Fine, Righty, Command Cap, Scrape. Copy that. Go down 10th, South 10th, paste that. Dross. So anyways, I'm gonna have my my contact info over there. Yeah. Yeah, you can actually you can there's a setting you can use to have the pop sound wake up your computer setup, but that would be bad for me. I think it did it. I think I said wake up is what happened. Oh, I didn't show off Dross. Dross. I didn't show off window tiling, which is one of my favorite things. I got it. I got to do it. Talon Wake.
Yeah.
Scrape. Scrape. Snap left. Focus code. Snap right. Dross. One of the things that I haven't figured out how to do yet, which is not really true. It's not that I haven't figured out. It's that I haven't created a command to do it. Is getting rid of this chat window. So, like, I need to minimize it. Obviously, Talon Wake, Mouse Grid, each, jury sit, touch, dross, dross. That's not normal, by the way. The tool that I use to click on stuff is not standard with Talon. I thought that like having an average of different points on the screen to click on things would be fun. For me, it's fun. I think that maybe for other people it might be frustrating, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. There are better mouse grid tools out there, but I haven't like spent enough time with them to use a better one.
What was jury sit?
Okay, Talon Wake,
I followed the first part, but not the second.
mouse grid, Talon Sleep. So what I've done here, so
Oh, I see
Yeah,
the
they're letters.
I
It's
didn't
a
notice
grid of
that.
letters, and then he's using his weird alphabet, so he'll say the weird word
Yeah.
or ood, and then it'll go to that square. But then he said jury sit.
so
I wasn't sure.
it takes the average of points.
Oh.
So if I said G and H, Talon Wake, Talon Wake, Gust Harp, Reset, Dross. So it placed the cursor halfway between. So if I did G and M, it would be in this point here. And if I did two G's and one M, it would be at this point here.
Oh.
So it
that's
shows
why
an
it's
average.
sit.
That's why I'm saying jury many times. Like, why do you keep saying jury?
Can you make it click on your website?
Yes.
Ooh, I want to try. Q. What's your word? Q. Quench.
Talon Wake, Talon Wake, command history close, help alphabet, mouse grid, cap, harp, left drag, mouse grid, back crunch, reset, crunch, reset, cap, harp, go back, reset, cap, harp, left drag, mouse grid, back crunch. Mother. Command history. Dross. I'm not sure why that's not working.
It's not doing the left drag.
No, it's not. It's annoying. I was trying to move to let the alphabet be in a different spot. Talon Wake. Wakey wakey. Help alphabet. Reset.
Quench. Cap. Why? Why?
Dross.
Because since you're in the secondary grid, you can't use the letter.
Can you say that in a different way?
Like, so I did quench.
Uh-huh.
And then
And then it made it smaller.
Yeah, and then I did cap.
Uh-huh.
It didn't go to that point in the.
It did, but
Oh,
it's off a little bit.
Just
Oh, really?
Talon Wake.
Okay.
Wakey wakey.
Oh, I misunderstood. Okay, so I have to choose
Reset.
another letter. I have to choose. Quench. Cap harp. Harp. Mouse. Made. Made.
Reset.
Quench. Cap harp. Harp made. Touch. Touch.
One more time.
Touch.
Oh, there he is.
Touch, touch. Touch now. Touch, please.
Touch Trillium Smith. Touch Trillium Smith.
Also, your name is spelled wrong.
Choose two.
Okay. Wow.
Dross.
How did you do that?
Did choose two?
No,
Which part?
No.
Going to the link?
Yeah.
I clicked on because it. So
I did pretty well though.
one of the things that's happening here is that all of these tools that have been built to interact with these systems tend to use hotkeys or key presses in some way. And so when we go and try to interact with that link that was in the text earlier, Talon Wake,
Your battery is low.
tab previous, touch hands free, touch computer, Dross. Yes, my battery's low. So when we try to interact with this link here, um, this link is not actually a hyperlink because we're editing a document, right? And so when we try to interact with it and we click on it, what happened was it brought up the panel that showed where the link went, and so we had to click on that thing next. And you're not you didn't. Well, because what right here in the link,
Yeah.
it's because I don't know why is that. Was it Talon Wake? Undo that. Dross.
Oh, now it's correct.
Yeah, it's probably because a command that came through heard trillion IAN and wrote trillion out.
I see.
Yeah. Is that all I wanted to show off? Floor is open. Any questions?
Oh my gosh, I have so many.
Can you add color to your PowerPoint?
Yes. Um,
That's a real question.
I totally will. I have been. You know what, Tom? Look at that. There's teal in those little eye dots. Thank you. It's color. Yeah. No, this was made by me pretty quickly.
Can I just say, I thought it was really entertaining when the question was, is it good at editing code? And all you said was yes. Because so you're talking to a bunch of developers,
Uh-huh.
right, that are probably pretty interested in coding with this
Mhm.
with this software. The fact that it's good at editing code seems like you might want to
Yeah.
pause there for a moment. I mean,
The author of Cursorless, his name is Pokey Rule. He
Pokey
called
Rule?
Pokey Rule.
Is
Yes.
his real name?
No. Pokey is his nickname. Um, he was on a podcast and he said that his family used to call him Porky when he was a kid, and so everybody thought that was a little bit rude, and so they dropped it to Pokey. So his name is Pokey Rule. Anyways, yeah. Pokey Rule. He calls Cursorless a code editor because most of the time when you're interacting with code, you're not actually writing things from scratch. It's extremely rare that you're writing things from scratch, but you are modifying code, and Cursorless is very good at modifying code.
So Cursorless is an extension of Talon?
Cursorless is an extension that fits within the Talon ecosystem. So Cursorless is actually an extension for VS Code, which is the right side window.
So it's not exactly Talon.
Yeah, so
It's kind of made for Talon.
Cursorless is made for Talon.
Made for Talon.
Yeah. And Cursorless, this system can be put into other code editors as well. They've done a lot of work to make this system applicable to, like, I don't know, I shouldn't say all the ones because I don't really know, but I'm pretty sure Emacs is in there, and then IntelliJ probably is in there too. These are other code editors you might not know about, but
It's rude to not know about
yeah.
it.
Why don't you, room here, know about code editors?
But other people.
Might know. They might know. What is that?
I know about it.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom.
Easy.
I don't believe you one bit. Yeah, so Cursorless is an extension for VS Code. And the way that these things work right now is actually super fascinating. When I was working with Rango earlier, that did all the dots across the screen. Excuse me, all the letters on this window. Talon Wake. Hints on. Address bar. Oh, the reason why this is being weird is because this is actually Chrome beta. So this is not Talon is not considering this to be a web browser.
Oh.
Talon Wake, Focus Chrome, Snap Left, Dross. So all of these guys, this is from Rango, obviously. Obviously. Obviously.
No.
Why wouldn't you know that by looking at my screen? The way that this application works right now is that when Talon wants to interact with an element on the screen, Talon creates a JSON object. JSON is transferred JavaScript object SON notation. I can't remember.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember what
That's
S
the
stands for.
acronym.
Yeah. JSON is a form of containing data to pass between applications.
Mm.
And so Talon will copy that into the clipboard, and then Rango, this extension, is reading your clipboard about 12 times a second. And then when JSON pops in there, it'll do the action, and then it'll clear it.
What?
Yeah.
Follow that. Not gonna lie, I didn't follow that.
I'm not surprised. It's a little complicated and weird.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, what is the word children doing there?
Where?
Under function modal
Uh,
on the right?
function modal on the line.
Right.
On the right, yes, but what line?
11.
Line 11, children. So children is the term for HTML elements that are nested below another element. So, for example, in this piece of in this web page here, we have a section, right? This whole thing is a section, and then broken up into multiple parts. This is going to be a separate div, right? And then each time we go down farther and farther in, that it's considered that the elements that are farther inside of a container are the children of the one above. Yeah. Any other questions?
Toggle popover is a great fan name.
Excellent. I'll keep that in mind.
Agree.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for sticking us out. I had fun. I hope that my presentation's a little shorter.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
You a lot.
That's good. Let me see here. Talon Wake. Wakey Wakey. Focus OBS.
What?
Touch stop recording. Choose 2.